Hello, Scream Demons, and welcome to the Screams from the Basement podcast with Sam and Casey. I am one of your co-hosts. I'm Casey Kelderman.
And I'm Sam. Let's get screaming.
And joining us on this episode is filmmaker Adam Newman, the head of development at Dreamscape Productions and the director of the upcoming film, Round the Decay.
Round the Decay is a creature feature about the residents of a tourist town being terrorized in their off-season by a horrifying creature. Please, welcome to the basement, Adam Newman. Adam, how are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Congrats on the movie, Round the Decay. We've both watched it. Fun creature feature.
Oh, good. I'm glad you guys at least are pretending to like it. So thank you very much for that.
We don't BS.
we don't BS on this show. And this one, again, you and I have been talking through email for almost a year now, and I think we got connected because a lot of this team worked on Eric Bloomquist's movies that we've talked about on this podcast many of times. So much so, one of Sam's favorite actors from Eric's movie, who is like unrecognizable in like every time he shows up and stuff, including your movie.
Yep,
shows up in this movie.
It's got to be Adam Wepler.
It is Adam Wepler.
Adam Wepler.
Oh, it was so. Best.
I watched the whole movie, and Casey messaged me afterwards. He's like, "Did you even notice that Adam Wepler was in that?" And I was like, "Oh my god, I didn't." Like, I had to go back and do a revisit of some scenes to like. I was like, "No, that's not him, is it?" Crazy.
Oh, that's so great. That's so great. He's such a great actor, really.
Yeah, he's a chameleon, isn't he?
Incredible. True. It's so true. And that's how I got turned on to him, was because of all the Bloomquist movies. Our DP is Bloomquist DP. And so we've had a lot of crossover. And when I saw Adam in Long Lost, that was really the time I went like, oh my God, this guy can really act. After seeing him in She Came from the Woods, where he was as different as could be, you know?
Yeah. Oh man, he's a perfect jackass in that movie.
It's so true.
Well, I bring that up because not only is there the behind the scenes connections and on the screen, but really the filmmaking vibe that I get from the Bloomquist brothers and yourself is very similar. And you guys had this very independent spirit where you put out an incredible product where it sounds incredible, it looks incredible, you have incredible effects and incredible actors in it, and you would never guess that for something on that budget, something stigma related around those budgets. What does it mean to you to be an independent filmmaker and really someone who's trying to champion independent cinema?
Well, thank you so much for saying that. It took 15 or 16 years to get to this level. And I think the rule is that you have to suck at it for at least 7 years. That's what I've said. You have to be terrible, like really, really terrible. And I made a lot of stuff. I've gotten really, really lucky. It's a big part of it. And over the years, we've just kind of been picking up more and more people and really skilled craftsmen who are really, really interested in making the particular movies that we happen to be making. And so some of them work for unions and they get different, they get paid a little bit more when it comes to those type of things. And then because they're so passionate about these type of projects, they come on for a little bit cheaper for us. And, it's so great that you mentioned that about Bloomquist stuff, because Bloomquist stuff, for the budget level, especially, man, it looks so great. And when we were seeing that, that's why we're like, we need to get Mike, his DP, because again, does the same thing. Mike always says, we're able to make a penny look like a dollar, which is the most important thing on independent films, especially to be taken seriously. There are some really, really great stories out there that are on even lower budgets than ours. The toughest thing is getting people to watch them. And when your movie, quote, looks like a movie, it just makes it a little bit easier to get in the door, at least to get somebody hooked for the opening 5 minutes of the movie, at least. So we're really happy with the stuff that we're making. I would love more money. If people want to give us more money, I will take it. I would love to make bigger things. But I'm very happy with the direction that we're going, and knowing that if we did decide to go a budget tier lower or something like that, that I still think that we can make something that was very, very cinematic with all the people that we have and all the things that we've learned.
Yeah, absolutely. You also are the head of development at a fairly new Dreamscape Productions company. Can you talk about the startup of that and what that's meant to you, and just the plan going forward with Dreamscape?
Sure. Hopefully you're not hearing my dogs bark right now.
Hey, we're a very pet friendly
Oh,
show.
good.
We have
Yeah.
animals too that might pop in here and
perfect.
there. Yeah.
My wife is not home right now, so the moment she gets home, they start barking. It's been great to be part of Dreamscape. You know, I had my own film production company for a long time, which was called But It Did Happen Productions, which kind of what morphed into Dreamscape. I'm very, very lucky because I have two people that are part of this team with me. We're still a very small company. One is Sean Ward, who's the executive producer for a lot of our stuff. You know, he's an entrepreneur. I met him when I was looking for a location. I reached out to him, as I tend to do, and just say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm poor. We want to use your location for free. And he responded with his headshot and said, if you put me in the movie, you've got a free location. So it's one of the coolest things. And, you know, over time, we spent about 5 or 6 years together. And we formed a friendship. And, you know, when we were filming our last movie, Everwinter Night, I had put in $20,000 of my own money. My buddy had put in $20,000. And he said, hey, what's it going to take to get on this level? I said, about $20,000. And he said, it's done. Let's do it. And now we're a production company. And it was really, really fast. And we have existed for about a year now, not even. And yeah, we've already got Everwinter, which is officially part of our catalog. Then we've got Round the Decay. You know, I want to be making movies. That's been the biggest goal in my life, is I want to be a writer director. I will do this until everybody pulls me away and says, please stop. But I also want to help other independent filmmakers. And I think that's what Dreamscape's really about. We want to get into theatrical distribution. We'd love to get into streaming distribution as well, especially because we've had our experiences. I'm sure you guys have heard plenty about predatory distributors and things like that. And we're trying to break past that. And we're just trying to get over this damn gatekeeper thing. It just feels like there's so many people that are blocking, and it might be self-perceived as well, but we really want to be, I like to say that we're climbing up the ladder. But we, you know, we have one hand on a rung, and then we are putting our other hand down and saying, like, please come along with us and help us too, you know? So yeah, it's really exciting. We're developing a lot of projects and stuff like that. Our goal is to be making at least 2 a year, which is way too fast, but you know, it's good to set yourself a goal. And I'm really happy with the direction that we're going.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's great. That's all the right reasons to start a production company.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, me and Sam work on productions ourselves, and we obviously interview a lot of filmmakers on the show. And that's how you get things going. You just do it yourself, and you do it for the right reasons. And I think you guys are doing it for the right reasons. And you start off, you know, we're now talking about Round the Decay, you know, where I think you guys are doing the right thing. Again, you're going a theatrical release with this at the end of the month. Another big thing that I think we hear from other filmmakers that we talk to, at least locally, is like, what do I start with? What do I even try to do? And I think you guys are a great template for that with this movie. Of, you guys have a stellar cast. It looks and sound, like you said, it looks and sounds like a movie, and that sounds derogatory, but like,
No,
it's not. It looks and sounds like a movie, and I think that's the biggest thing when people are trying to get into this space. So I guess the question with all of this is, where does a movie like Round the Decay start, from the writing process to casting to we're actually filming this movie? Because I know it's a quick turnaround for you guys on this one.
Yeah, don't work this quick. It's way too fast. The crazy part is, you know, we filmed it this past April. And I wrote it the April before, or I started to write it the April before. So yeah, no, we've gone really, really fast. This is incredibly fast by feature standards, especially if you have tons of money, and we don't have tons of money. You know, it started just because I was done with Everwinter Night, and I didn't love how we had to write that movie. It was a movie that we had to write on the fly when we got shut down by SAG, and we completely changed genres and completely changed what the movie was. And so we had to write it as we were going, as we were filming. And so, which was a cool experience to understand who we were and to learn about what we could do. However, I wanted to write something and, you know, spend a lot of time on drafting and things like that. So I was in Wales, and I was going through a rough breakup, and I decided to start writing about it. I had this old idea that was originally supposed to be cosmic horror, and I just kind of took the seeds of that and started writing. You know, I tend to note card everything out, and so I don't start until I have a first and last image. And once I have that, I go, okay, I have at least a path where to go. And then I have to have everything note carded out or in a Google Doc with every beat along the way. And then what I typically do is I copy and I paste that into a final draft type of file. And then I just start writing it straight through. And if I ever get caught on a scene, it's okay. I skip and I move to the next beat, and then we'll figure it out as we go. I end up beating the hell out of it with a couple producers. I have 3 producers that are great. And then I have my editor, who's even better when it comes to destroying this thing, just rip it to shreds. And then, we start talking about the casting. I'm very lucky in that I've, worked for 15 years now at this. And so I have a core of people. Some of the people that you guys have seen in the movie, like Victoria Mirror, who plays the lead in it, and Jamie Dufault and McKenna Parsons and Carrie Height. These are all people that I've worked with multiple times. And then from there, we start going like, oh, it would be great if we were able to bring in a couple new people and bring in some people that horror people are aware of, and like that's why bringing in Wepler was great. And we already have a connection with him, and bringing in Damien, who, is in every horror movie that's ever existed. And, and a lot of those people. And then obviously Roger Clark, who's in Red Dead Redemption. If you're a video game player, you bow to him. And yeah, we just started picking up a bunch of those people. I love the casting process. I love working with actors, as you've seen with the movie. I love characters. I love lots and lots of characters. And so that was really cool. And then I'm awesome at pre-production. I'm pretty crap at most other aspects of filmmaking, but absolutely really good at pre-production. I'm really good at getting the snowball going. And starting to push it down the hill. And I'm really good at speaking very passionately about projects, which is incredibly contagious. And so if people see that I'm at least going down, they'll go, oh, I'll jump on board and go down with him, which is, again, it's probably my greatest strength and my greatest flaw. And so it was a lot of prep with my team and finding the locations. Luckily, we owned a lot of the locations for this movie, which is why I wrote it around that. The other part was just, finding a cave, really. And then from there, we, shot it in 18 days, which is way too quick. Don't do that. And then we came back for 3 more, and then a couple days for monster voice stuff. And then it goes into post, where I'm the worst. There's nobody worse at post. And so but I'm very lucky that I have an editor who's also my colorist and also my VFX guy. And so we kind of start working. I'm really good at talking over notes. I'm not good at the assembly of something. So yeah, it's been a crazy, crazy experience. And then you add in the fact that I got married and bought a house in this time frame too. And it's just, it's a lot of stuff all at once. Yeah, but yeah. I'm very, very proud of how we were able to get through that. And it took 15 years to get to this point, to being the well-oiled machine that we are.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, you guys pull off something really special with like a low budget. There's one shot, like, I won't spoil it because it's in the 3rd act, but there's one shot with like a flare gun and a reflection that just like, it kind of blew my mind. I was like, this looks incredible.
Yeah.
I thank you so much for bringing that up, because I don't storyboard at all. I cannot draw. I can't draw stick figure. So I can't even get anywhere near that. So I always have to shot list. I type out my shots. Because it's the only way that I can possibly do it. And I do this well in advance. However, when it came to that part in the script, my editor said, like, I need you to draw this for me because I have no idea what you're talking about. And so I downloaded a little app so that I could push all the characters out. And then I had, a frame by frame of exactly that ending sequence that you're talking about. And it is the shot I get the most compliments about. So thank you so much for saying that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just, gorgeous shot. You guys pulled it off beautifully. So
yeah.
Yep.
So Adam, what is Round the Decay? If people have not watched the trailer yet, what in your own words is this movie about?
Sure. It's about a young woman named Kenzie who returns to this kind of touristy town where a few years ago a tragedy happened between her and her fiance. And when she gets there, she kind of meets this eclectic cast of characters they're kind of outsiders. And together they end up kind of unearthing this secret that has been held within the town for a while and kind of unleash it accidentally on the people. It's a horror movie. I don't think it's not scary or anything like that, but it's got a couple cool scares. It's got a lot of cool kills. And really, it's a creature feature. It's an adventure movie. I love team up movies, you know, like Monster Squad and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then hopefully, if people are really into it and can get invested, there's a heart to the movie as well. And talking about a lot of things in regards to relationships and things like that. If that just washes over and you go, I don't care, it's a very cool monster movie as well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think you pull off something kind of crazy for a movie of this scale. And you said you love writing characters and you love having a lot of characters. There are so many characters in this, and you've done such a great balance between all of them, where you'll spread them out into, many times they're in different locations, 4 different locations, and they somehow all converge and intertwine with each other. You said you don't storyboard either. What was that like, to try to figure out, okay, this person's here, how do I get them from here to there? How do they meet up with this person to meet up with this person?
That's a great question. Really, a lot of it is when I'm boarding out and I have all those note cards. I always do this as well. I color code characters. You can see it if you watch the movie, and it makes it so easy for an audience to pick up immediately who somebody is. You will both understand when I talk about an orange jacket, what I'm talking about, and how quickly you can distinguish, oh, I know who that character is. And so I do that with my note cards as well. And once they get to be story beats, I have, the blue is my Kenzie color. And so I have that. And so when I'm slotting all of these together, I can quickly glance at it and go, that's a Kenzie, that's an Ada, that's a Roz. And when they are together, it's 2 slashes. It's the 2 colors together, and figuring that out. I'm a big fan of, and when I was really starting to get into hardcore storytelling, I was a big fan of, you guys have to have seen the show, what is it called? Every Frame of Painting. And it's a YouTube channel where they talk about so many things in filmmaking. And one of them is this video that talks about, it's called Meanwhile Back at the Ranch. And it's just talking about how stories, especially stories that are sprawling out, you write them until there is a cool moment where people go, please give me more. And then you quickly take them away from that and give them another scene. And when you do that, they go, I wanted to see more. But then they get invested with the next scene and they go, oh, this is great. And then you take them to a point where they want more and you cut them off again and you send them back somewhere else. And they go, oh, but I want that resolved. And when they come back to each of these storylines, they're going to get resolution. And it starts being really, really satisfying. I noticed it when I really started diagnosing the movies that I liked, especially ensemble movies, and just how rewarding that is as everything starts to wrap up. And if you feel like they all cross and tie in a bow, I just get like a warm, fuzzy feeling in your stomach. So it does take a lot of work. I think structuring is the hardest part of writing. I don't think it's dialogue or anything like that. It's all about structure and making sure that this works. And then obviously kicking your ego out of the room so that you can really go, what is the basis of the story? What is important? What is essential? And like, as you just mentioned, I have a lot of characters. I had to cut several characters and combine several characters because you get to that point, you go, no, what is essential? What is essential? What is essential?
Yeah. Well, and speaking of characters, there's one like big one we haven't even talked about, and that is the creature, the Rexall.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about creating that look and working with the actress Rachel Pizzolatto?
That's her name. Yeah. Good job.
Sam, did you know we have a connection to Rachel?
Okay, that name sounds familiar. What's our connection?
So Sam and I, we worked at a convention in Sioux Falls, SuperCon, and Rachel was a guest at SuperCon for many, many years with Mythbusters Jr.
That's right.
As soon as she has a very distinct name. I was like, I know that name.
Yep. Oh my God. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
She's very, very sweet. Working out, it's funny because Rachel, I didn't know who she really was until Instagram started feeding me her. And really it was because I love trampoline tricks. And so for a while I was getting a lot of trampoline tricks. And Rachel was known for doing like flips. She would like join some of these channels doing these. She wasn't quite to the level of these experts, but I saw her doing it. And when I would watch, Instagram goes, oh, you like that? Here's more of her. She has a billion videos. And so I saw her and I went like, well, she's athletic. And based off of these videos, I'm pretty sure she's tall. And so those were 2 aspects that I really wanted for for the Rexall. And so I asked her, and I cold ask so many people so many things. Something that you have to do in this industry, and most of the time you get silence. If you're lucky, you get a no, and then if you're very lucky, you might get a I'll talk about it. But Rachel was instantly like, "This is so cool. I'm going to dive in on this." And then it's working out with her what it's going to be like. But really, it's working with Greg over at Anomaly, who is, he's the guy who designed the monster. And, I had a very rough basic idea as to what I was looking for. And he designed the hell out of that thing and made it so great, and met Rachel before I did. So cast her and was able to make sure that the monster suit fit her and what she was going to do. And then my stunt coordinator, Jack Lynch, who worked on Founders Day, and she came from the woods and all that type of stuff. He came on, and he was just like the perfect middleman when it came to conversations about what can she do, what can't she do, because the suit is very restricting, and it's more restricting in areas that you wouldn't expect when you get it on, and then some other areas it's easier. And so we kind of just worked through it that way and tried to be as practical as possible and make sure that she was comfortable doing what she had to do. Constantly had to improv and figure that out. But the basics of the Rexall, which I don't want to go into all the details of, but like its powers and what it's capable of doing with its voice and things like that, those were all things that were kind of there in inception and are based off of 100 different monsters that I've seen in the past. I'm pretty clearly, if you guys are video game players, I'm really inspired by like Until Dawn, Wendigo Fiction, stuff like that. And then things like The Thing, and obviously the greatest monster created of all time, the Xenomorph. So, it's a lot of those things kind of combined with the actress and the stunt coordinator, and it all comes together. And hopefully it creates a monster that's, obviously wearing its influences on its, metaphorical sleeves here, but at the same time kind of stands on its own.
Yeah, it definitely does. It has that that look that's just going to stick with you afterwards, and I think that's something terribly hard to do for movies nowadays, to create something wholly unique and original and something that will stick with you. You guys did absolutely knock that out of the park with the Rexall, and I'm glad you brought up the video game part, because this has that. For me, this feels like that Friday night movie where you watch it with a group of friends, and whether it's a movie or a video game, and it's something that you guys gather around together and you just have an absolute blast watching it, playing it, depending on the medium. Round the Decay is that movie for me. It's that Friday night movie. And I think teens and young adults are going to really latch onto that party atmosphere of this movie.
That is incredibly kind. I'd love to put that on the poster, because that's it's very lovely that you say that, and that's kind of the type of movie that we were making, and that's kind of it's the movies that I grew up watching. And I was a baby and I couldn't watch horror when I was a kid, but I watched a lot of adventure movies. And like you said, it's a Friday night thing. You come home from school and you're like, I got the whole weekend ahead of me. And your mom gives you $10 and says, go pick out a bunch of stuff from Express Video. And so then you head over there, and then you can grab something like Round the Decay. And I told people afterwards, like, this is the type of movie that I wanted to watch. I love seeing in the cinema. I would love to watch with friends. I would throw it on a VHS. I think it's going to be a great VHS when we get that physical VHS. I think it's a lot of fun. Like you just said, it's a good popcorn movie. And I think that is often used as like a disparaging term for some reason. And I don't get it. That's good. Yeah. It's a fun time. And if, like I said, if you want to engage with it in a really emotional level, with what's going on with Kenzie, especially, then I think it can be very rewarding too. I was very lucky to have, a packed showing for the premiere, and there was somebody sitting in front of me and she was crying. And that's I was like, wow, I can't believe that you're crying for that. But it's also, it was towards the end of the movie, and it's incredibly humbling. So yeah, I think it's a great night out in the movies, especially if you go see it in the theater.
So let's talk about that. We got to talk about that, because I find the model you guys have for the release very interesting, because you're doing a pre-order model. So walk us through that. What does that mean? What does that entitle? And where does that idea to do a pre-order for a theatrically released movie come from?
We're just, at Dreamscape, we're trying to find every possible way we can in order to get our movie in front of more people. And I think what has been shown with things like Terrifier 3, even you look at something like Hundreds of Beavers, which just came out, like what?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw it. It's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
great.
With those movies, they were shot on lower budgets, and the audiences, people like you guys, have been screaming basically, "I want original storytelling." And instead of just continuing to go and see tentpole movies, the audiences went and saw them. And so we know that there is a thirst for it, and yet we're still small potatoes here. And so we're just going, filmmaking is creative problem solving, right? It's just, you have this thing and you have to work within this box, and then it's like find every angle you can. And so we said, why don't we just try to tap into some pre-orders and really try to get an indie film revolution going, where you purchase this voucher. And yeah, it's a little bit weird to pre-purchase tickets. However, it's supporting independent film. And also you're getting the perk of, hey, we also get this digital download of this film. And what it does is it helps create leverage to get into even more theaters. So we're already in dozens and dozens of theaters, which is awesome. But if we have these pre-purchase tickets from Adam Tickets, we do get to go to theaters and say, look at how many people have already purchased tickets, or how many people are looking at tickets. And then they go, well, we should probably play this movie.
Well, and it's cool that you're doing the digital download aspect too, because, there are people that might not be, we're in the middle of South Dakota. It's probably not going to be in a theater near us, but we could purchase a ticket and still get the digital file and still be able to watch that movie, with the rest of everybody who's watching it in theaters. And
Yeah.
I like that idea. That's kind of a neat, I don't know. That's just a neat innovation you guys have come up with.
Yeah, we're hoping that it leads us places. We'll end up seeing, but ultimately, we're not using it as the only bargaining chip to get into theaters. We're calling and calling and calling and calling, trying our best to get into these things without it. But why not, turn over every single stone? Also, you guys are in, where you say, North Dakota?
South Dakota, yeah.
You're in South Dakota. All right. Well, I will make sure that we make some calls over there so that we can try to get into a theater near you guys as well.
Yeah.
Because what we have learned is that a lot of smaller theaters too, we're not just aiming for chains. We're looking for places that have like niche little followings, because, I'm out on the East Coast here, and we have, the Coolidge Corner Theater is my favorite theater there is. And what it has is incredibly loyal film fans. And we were able to get 2 midnight showings there, which are like, the cream of the crop. They're always packed, and it's so great. And it's because they love independent cinema. So we want to be able to hit these chains, of course, like our friends Bloomquist was able to do with Founders Day. And what he was able to do was just insane. He got 975 theaters, basically as himself. He was the one taking care of that by himself. And so he really laid it out for us, saying like, ball's in your court now. And then, it's just like art. When you put something out into the universe, the only reason that I put art out there is to communicate with everybody. Say like, this is me. Do you like me? And some people go, no, go away. But some people say like, yes, I'm connecting with you. I believe, I'm seeing you here. And then my hope is that, another generation of filmmakers or another filmmaker takes what we've done and goes, that was great. How do we expand off of what they've done? So we're just trying to expand off of Bloomquist. Hopefully somebody else will come up with a way better idea than we have too, in order to help films get into theaters, so that everybody can kind of share in this. And because I think it's the time. I think we've seen that tentpoles are starting to fall off, and I think movie theaters are scared. But I do think that there's an opportunity here for original stories that are being told on smaller budgets, but can still look like bigger budget movies, to really get out there and kind of make their name.
Yeah, absolutely. We love that. We love seeing all of these, especially in the horror genre, all these independent films pop up and find success. And we hope for the same for Round the Decay. And along with that, you mentioned a VHS release that obviously perked both of our ears up.
Yeah.
What's the physical media release going to look like after this drops in theaters on the 30th of this month?
So we're still in discussions in regards to our physical and our streaming, because we wanted to take care of this distribution ourselves when it comes to the theatrical. However, we haven't really made up our mind as to how we want to go about streaming. We're still trying to kind of wade in those waters. We've been talking with sales agents and distributors and things like that. But we want to get into physical. You know, we want to be obviously selling Blu-rays and things like that. We have a lot of merchandise, which is great. And then I've been in talks with, you know, we have a couple people that we know that they, you know, take care of VHS releases and things like that, which is really, really cool. Our buddy over at Broke Horror Fan. We actually, oh, you guys know him?
Well, I've bought a few from them for sure.
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
They've got great product. I love it.
Yeah, Alex, who runs Broke Horror, he's kind of like our publicist in a way. Like he does a lot of the promotional stuff for us. And he's great, and he's also a filmmaker as well. And he's just like super, super lenient, but also super, super great with all his connections. And he does this VHS stuff because he's got an obsession with horror, and he's got an obsession with physical media. And I think that we're getting to this point where VHS, Blu-ray, stuff like that are gonna kind of go the route of vinyl. You know, where I think that it's going to become kind of a collector's item where people are going to be willing to spend a little bit more for these things just to get these prints. And I think there's man, I wish I remembered her name, but I follow this one young woman who does, she makes, you know, she designs the artwork for a lot of these VHSs and stuff like that. And some of the artwork you see on these things is just incredible. And so that alone is worth, you know, the price of the VHS. So we're not exactly sure when we're going to have that release, but we're still in conversation. The theaters are kind of happy about that because we're like, we don't know exactly when we're going to release. And they go, good, we can run it longer if it goes well. And so we go, yes, that's what we planned all along. So we're in a lucky spot.
Well, we're super excited for that because we're VHS nuts, both of us. And we love seeing modern horror get put on VHS. Because again, is it the most ideal way to watch a movie? Maybe not, but like you said, the artwork alone, nothing looks better on a bookshelf like behind both of us than a VHS tape. And I mean, the artwork on your guys' poster already is just absolutely incredible. Like that on a VHS tape would look amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Shout out Sadist Arts. That's Mark Skoenbeck. He does such damn good work. And if you're making horror movies, especially, the guy does hand-drawn posters. Please do hand-drawn posters. Set aside the money you need to get a hand-drawn poster, because you guys are like, listen, I try to be as humble as possible when it comes to a lot of the stuff that we're doing and making and understanding what we're doing. The poster fucking rules. It does. Like, it's so sweet. And so like, if I know that if I'm scrolling through a wheel and I saw this poster, I would watch it in a heartbeat, you know? And so that's what you're looking to do. I love when people say, don't judge a book by its cover. Fools. We all do it constantly. That's what we did at the video store. You know, I talk about how the reason I didn't go near horror movies when I was a kid is because I saw the Dead Alive poster with the person opening their mouth. And I was like, no, never. That's too scary. And I ran away. Like that. It's amazing the power that one image can have on a box, you know, a piece of art on a box. So yeah, get your posters and like you just said, buy physical. I got to start my Blu-ray collection back up again because that's how I want to do it. And you just said it might not be the most ideal way to watch it. Sure, but like, is streaming, you know,
No.
Tubi's presenting it in 720, and you know, so we're not getting 4K representation when it comes to that. Also, I kind of miss the days of getting a DVD and then putting it in and then watching the making of, you know. The Lord of the Ring, the Fellowship of the Ring, the making of DVD that came with that, it was on repeat at my house. Magnolia is the movie that made me want to make movies. How many times have I just ran that DVD on over and over and over again with all the special features, because it's important. And so I agree. Buy more physical. VHS's rule. Doesn't matter about the quality. Add something to it when it's a little bit rough around the edges, you know?
Especially when it's horror, it gives it more of a liminal vibe and it makes it a little creepier. Like everything looks a little creepier on VHS.
It's absolutely true. Especially for horror, people should be doing it. Also, I think that there's just like this, you know, streaming is too easy in a way. It's made us very lazy. And I love the idea of taking a dusty VHS off and being like, oh crap, I have to rewind it. And then you put it in there and you hit rewind and then you start it up and then you have an experience with it. And if you really have to go to the bathroom, you have to physically get up and go and press the button. I kind of like that about it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
and if you have older VHS VCRs and you pop a tape in, you're like, this might be the last tape I ever watch in this thing too. It adds an air of mystery in there as well. It's like, is this the last movie I'm ever gonna watch on here?
It's so intense. A few years ago, I lost my copy of The Fog to a VCR, and
Oh no.
I think I took that, like, I literally took that thing apart with my bare hands trying to get that tape back. Never forget that viewing of it, though.
Well, Adam, we're gonna wrap things up with the last question we leave everybody off on, and it's gonna tie in perfectly here. So if people are gonna watch Round the Decay, and let's say you're in that video store era where you're like, all right, I get 2 movies to pick out, like Mom said, I get 2 movies from the video store. One's Round the Decay. What's the second movie you're gonna pair with this for a Friday night double feature?
Oh man. Okay, that's a good one. So when it comes to, if you're asking personally, what would I pick up?
Personally, you. Yep.
Oh man, that's a great question. If I'm gonna play something with Round, okay, I'm gonna play something that's probably similar. We're gonna have a night that is, we're gonna have a horror movie night that's kind of in the same vein. I mean, it's the easiest one to say, and it's probably just because I've been put on the spot, but it'd probably be Pumpkinhead.
Yes.
It's the one, you know, I had not seen Pumpkinhead before writing the script. However, my editor said, I need you to watch Pumpkinhead because there's a lot of similarities here. And I put in Pumpkinhead. Now, I like Pumpkinhead quite a bit, but I think that the first like 35 minutes of that movie are perfect. It is so damn good. And I was like, if we make something, if our opening is 10% as good as that opening, then we have a good movie. And I think that pairs really, really well, obviously, in terms of how like the monster's created and stuff like that. Also, I love first acts of movies. I like things that are 25, 30 minutes where you get to meet characters and understand who they are. Pumpkinhead really does that, really, really sets that up. And so I think it's a great pairing. But I am going to say this: I do think our kills are better than Pumpkinhead, so I'm sticking with that one. But yeah, I think it's a good 1-2 combo.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We both just rewatched that this October. We did an
we
episode
did
on it.
an
And
episode on it. Yeah.
perfect pick. That's a perfect pick right there.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Awesome.
Adam, this has been amazing. Such a great chat. We can't wait for people to check out Round the Decay. Again, where can people pre-order tickets, and when can they see this in the theaters?
Yeah, so pre-order, you can go onto our website, dreamscapeproductions.com. But you can also hit all of my social medias, which is director Adam Newman on Instagram, as well and then I'm Adam Newman on Facebook. Dreamscape Productions LLC, our production company, both Facebook and Instagram. And then we do have round_the_decay on Instagram. All of those places have the links posted absolutely everywhere. Also, follow the actors that are involved with the projects. One, because they're rad and they're great actors, but they also are promoting the hell out of this thing all over the place. So yes, that, and then the theater. Our run starts officially the 30th, which is a Thursday, which will have limited showings, obviously, on Thursday, but it will be Friday, the 31st, is where we'll start hitting theaters. I'm not allowed to say all of the theaters yet because we have some of them, we have contracts in hand. I need to have them physically sign it and also have updated their website and things like that in order to say we are in them. I can tell you that we are in multiple chains, which is very, very cool. And I can tell you that we're playing at the Coolidge Corner, over in near where I am, but we're also playing in Oklahoma, and we're playing in Florida, and we're playing all over. So we're starting to pick up little locations everywhere. Buy your ticket voucher. If you don't buy your ticket voucher, just find your cinema nearest you to please go watch the movie. Because as Casey and Sam both said, it's a great Friday night popcorn movie.
Hell yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
Adam,
thank you
again. Yeah, this has been amazing. Again, people go watch Round the Decay. Adam, we got to do this again sometime, but thank you for taking time to talk about the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you two both can tell, I don't shut up. So if any point you ever want to bring me back on, I'm more than willing to. If you just want to talk horror movies, I'm fine with that too. Whatever you guys want to do.
Hell yeah. We'll bring you back soon then.
Awesome.
Thanks for tuning in to the Screams from the Basement podcast. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, and on YouTube. Please like, rate, and subscribe. You can follow us on any of our social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and TikTok. You can also help support the podcast by buying exclusive Screens from the Basement merch on our TeePublic store. This includes hats, t-shirts, and so much more. Link to our TeePublic store in the episode description. For more Screens from the Basement content, please consider subscribing to our Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you can get exclusive bonus episodes to the podcast, video vlogs, movie reviews, and so much more. And until next time, sweet screams.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.